But she was also one of the only Skagen painters. Michael Ancher has painted a few, and some of the others have as well, but she was the only artist who again and again painted the religious life in Skagen, because there was also a very important part of the life of the people living in Skagen. They were very religious at this time. You must also imagine that a lot of fishermen, of course, drowned, lost their lives, and then it left their wives alone with the kids and so on. So especially the women got very religious, like Anna's mother, for example, and the sisters. Also to keep the men from drinking. Some of them, of course, were drinking a bit and so on. So it was the women, and you can also see this a field sermon from 1903 here. And it's actually at the Fyrbakken, or the lighthouse hill, as you would say in English, where you have this outdoor field sermon, and you can see all the women sitting there, just a few men as well, and the priest standing here. And it actually, this religious thing actually exploded in Skagen at this time, and they built a new missionary house also at this time, and just in 85, and just 11 years later, they had to expand the house so 800 people could sit there for a sermon. And you should imagine at this time only 2,000 people were living in Skagen. So a lot of people actually went to church. So it's quite extraordinary. I think that Anna was the only Skagen painter who painted this part of the life. The other Skagen painters were really not that interested in that part because they were not religious at all. But she was like, Anna wasn't either, and still she was somewhere between her mother, who was very religious, and then these cultural radical artists on the other part. She was married to one of them, and she was a part of the circle. So she's been something in between, in a way, like I started to say. So she also painted like this interior from the church in Skagen, and she also painted this funeral at the end of the 1880s, where a woman has died and her husband standing there. And actually, she's one of the few Skagen painters, except Christian Krogh, the Norwegian painter. I haven't talked of him at all, but there's one painting by him at this exhibition. You can go and see it, because they're the only two painters actually that, at least what I know of at the moment, who use this color on the wall. All the others use white or different colors, but Christian Krogh and Anna Ancher actually uses this light pink color here on the wall, and we know that they had this type of color but on the wall, so it's not something she's made up, but she's the only one using it. And this painting, and this one in particular, is one of the few paintings she's made where there's a lot of figures, like you said, and it's a larger painting. And the reason why that is she wasn't taught from the beginning at the private painting school to paint these large figure paintings. But all the male artists, they were taught to do that, because that was what you were taught at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts. That was the finest you could do at all, was to make large canvases with a lot of figures. And that is why you seldom see that from her hand. And it's also a quite late painting, that one, that she's doing that when she's more secure. She knows what she's doing, and still she's just made, that's the largest canvas I've seen that she's done. She might have done another one we don't know of. That's the largest one. Otherwise, it's smaller sizes she paints. And that's also why the male, they kind of tend to dominate, because they make these large canvases and she doesn't. But still, I think when you go into the small room with the sketches, it's really her who is the modern artist here. And I also think that is one of the reasons why it's been so important to introduce her together with some of the other artists from the colony here. So you can see what did they do, and what did Skagen look like, and how is she compared to them. So that is why we have chosen the National Museum of Women in the Arts has chosen also to have some of the artists represented at this exhibition.